Married at First Sight is a really interesting show because a group of psychologists get some singletons. They psychologically test them to understand their wants, their needs, their personalities, and they match them together. Pretty straightforward, you might think. You'd be wrong, because the first time they meet is on their wedding day.
How nerve-wracking is that? Seriously. Oh,
The concept is
it's just
nuts.
bonkers. I mean, the show itself, we both loved it, to be fair. And, you know, they meet at the aisle, and some couples don't necessarily get on so well, but that makes amazing TV. But then
Great
you do get the
watching.
likes of Cam and Jules, where they do just fall in love, and you have this whirlwind romance, and it is amazing. We often ask about a career plot twist, that sort of defining moment where there could be a change in the narrative that can, you know, really change someone's story. I mean, for you guys, you meet each other on national TV as strangers and you get married. And then what precedes is this whirlwind of romance and now obviously married, you've got a gorgeous baby boy. I mean, do you ever look back over the last 2.5 years and think, this is just so surreal?
All the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, all the time. I think just every day we sort of wake up, and I know it sounds quite cliche, but we're genuinely that thankful. I could look at either Jules or where we are and little Ollie. It just sometimes it just blows my mind and our minds. And we talk about it a lot. We go, think about what we sort of did. And in that moment, it's, I wouldn't say insignificant, but it was just a small decision in our lives that we made that we were able to make because I think we were in pretty good place at that time. We were both very happy with our lives. We had things going on. So it was never desperate stations. It was just like, you know what, my life's good, everything's good. Let's just see what happens. And then fast forward 2 years, it's just like, I looked at Ollie today when I was just at the beach and just thinking, this is amazing and so very thankful. And we do pinch ourselves like, really? This is actually happening?
Yeah, it is crazy, but it's like, and it is just now, it's just the way that we met, you know, to me, I don't think about it as this big thing, you know, obviously it is, but it's just our story and it's just how we met in a really
unorthodox type of way.
Very
And we
unorthodox.
just always say, well, at least Ollie's got a really cool way of watching how his parents met.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
We thought we'd change things up because you are the first couple that we've had on the podcast. So we thought we'd do a bit of Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah, so as Tom said, we usually just pick some random questions and we throw it out there. And we were like, how can we make this a little bit different? So we're going to do the Mr. and Mrs. edition. So the first question is, who would you say out of the two of you is the better dancer?
He thinks he's like twinkle toes.
Are you kidding? I'm a phenomenal dancer.
Jules, is he a good dancer? Because my boyfriend once said to me, you are quite a good dancer, but you definitely think you're a better dancer than you are. And I think he hit the nail on the head, really.
I think that's Cam. Like, yeah, he's great, but he thinks he's like amazing.
Phenomenal is the word I used, but I think we're both in tune with each other of some of the dances that we've put. We had our wedding dance.
Oh, we love dancing. Like, we did a choreographed engagement dance, a wedding dance. Like, we love it. And we just, you know, take the piss out of not being that great, but we think we're great at it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like we really did like our engagement dance was so much fun. It was to Deliver Electricity. Yeah, and we did this like kind of like little breakdown bit in the middle of it.
Love that.
There's a lot going on.
But yeah, no, Cam thinks he's like the professional like breakdancer, don't you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say professional, but
Maybe a bit of a stretch, but...
indeed. Yeah, so where we got to that, yes, that would be me. Yep.
So next up, obviously, you guys live together and we've all spent a lot of time in our houses. But out of the two of you, who's better at DIY?
Me, 100%.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jules, actually.
100% go with me. I was grousing. We bought our home and we brought Ollie home the first night that we stayed here. Like, that's how much it was running against the clock. I was grousing the bathroom floor, 9 months pregnant. This one jumps on Instagram, grouts 4 of them. Oh, call 1-800-GROUT-KING. Check me out. Like, he makes out to the world He does everything. Nah, he just potters around and watches everyone and makes a laugh and joke
Is he
about
is he the glory hunter that comes in and puts the final nail in and then goes, it's been a tough day?
Strong words you're just throwing out there. Really strong words. What I do enjoy, I do throw myself into it, so I'm never one to back down. When we've got labourers or carpenters over, I'll always ask, can I get involved? Can I learn a few tricks of the trade?
Can I take a video and make it I did it myself?
Can I potentially take a photo and just throw it out there as well?
Put it on Instagram and make out that I'm really handy.
So I'm learning. I had the nail gun in my hand for at least 30 seconds before I thought I was going to do some damage and then gave it back. But other than that, no, Jules is brilliant on the tools. She loves it.
I love all that.
Yeah, she really does.
DIY.
She really does. So, so me, definitely me.
Yeah, so in summary, it's me again. Okay, so
again.
this is...
Yep, 2 from 2.
I have a psychology degree, so this sort of show is like my dream. It's like love stories and psychology matching you all rolled into one, which is amazing.
Here she comes.
Fran, you could be an expert. Have you put your hand up to be an expert?
I thought this was the audition for me to go on the next
Series 8.
Yes, you're onto us. You're onto us.
I'd have to dust off the old books. But when you're going through that kind of process to get onto the show, how deep do they go with that sort of psychological testing? Because I was listening to another interview you guys did, and they said that, like, on paper, you guys are one of the best matches that they'd had. So can you just talk us through a bit about like that process? And was that quite intense to go through even ahead of being in the show?
It's an amazing experience too. Every single expert has their own papers or online that you get, and you've got to fill them all out. And I loved that. I can't remember which expert it was, but it was like, name your top 10 traits that you want in someone. And then what do those 10 traits mean? Like, what do they mean to you? And then what's your top 3? What if your partner didn't have those traits? What would that look like? So when do you sit down really knock out, what are your values that you won't not tolerate or that you have to have in someone? Or if they didn't appreciate those things, or would that make things different? Like, I really enjoyed that process, and I felt like I found out a lot about myself, but I was brutally honest in that about myself as well. I didn't, write down like, I'm super confident all the time, and I'm, I didn't make out that I was anything not than what I am, and I was really open to it. And I assume, obviously, knowing Cam, that he was probably exactly the same. Like, he was very open and vulnerable and really expressed who he was as a person. So I think that's, so we got seriously lucky. I mean, we always joke and think we were ringing because we only got notified 6 days before the actual wedding day. So we always like, they just got lucky. We were like 2 ring-ins that somehow made it there. Because a lot of the other contestants had like 2 months notice, and we're like, why did we have 6 days? I had no sleep for 6 days.
Wow,
then I got married, broke down that morning because I was like,
it's terrifying.
Oh my God, what's going on? Yeah.
Do you think the intensity of being part of a show like that brought you closer together more quickly?
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like our relationship and our bond that we have from sharing such a unique, crazy experience, because then when you come out of that, there's so many other elements of your relationship that aren't normal, that you do go through together, from other public perception to, people's opinion, like all those things that aren't normal. And you just have this bond with each other to support each other and to look after each other because you've done it with each other. So I definitely feel like it is a very unique thing that makes you seriously close.
Bonded. And then you throw in a little bit of COVID-19 and then you're forced to live with each other indoors. And we said the same thing. We've done this before. This is fine. This is easy. This is easy.
Been in training.
And almost, I guess, a plot twist in itself is that you hadn't met anyone before, because I guess from watching the show, there was a rational way of thinking, the maturity to you guys, perhaps compared to other contestants at times. You're just both just really, really lovely. And it was just surprising.
Maybe that wasn't hard, Tom.
It may have made us look like we were half normal.
Einstein over here.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, it was surprising that you hadn't already met somebody.
I think we've talked about our past relationships, and I think Jules always talks about she's kissed every toad in the...
Kiss the kingdom.
Kiss the
Kiss all the toads
kingdom.
in the kingdom. Kiss the whole kingdom of them. I always say I was never short of a date. I always, even when I married Cam the second time and I did my speech, I said because my parents would be like, God, you're so fussy. What do you want? And I'd be like, I know what I want. I just haven't found it. And when I married Cam, I was like, this was what I was holding out for. My parents were like sitting at the table, shaking their head going, okay, we get it. Like I just was missing that magic, that real love. And, you know, I had someone ask my dad if he could marry me, and I'd had all those chances in my life, but I just, in my heart, I knew I hadn't found the right person. So yeah, and I was getting to that age where I was getting that little bit of fear stepping in and going like, oh, is it going to happen for me? Like I know all the things I want, but I never, I guess, gave up on wanting to find, you know, the real deal. And here I am, DIY fixer.
There he is. This guy brought the magic, I guess you'd say. So yeah,
just not the tools.
Yeah. They call me Carpenter Cam. Just.
I mean, I'm 30, I'm single, and I've watched you guys, and I'm taking inspiration. But what would be the generic advice?
The first one would, again, we live in such a fast-paced world, so everyone's either swiping left or swiping right. I think you have to get a little bit deeper than that if you're going to find, or if you can at least give yourself a chance to find someone that you're after.
Yeah. I do think, you know, we were saying before, Fran, about just being calm and that, and it is such a cliche, and it's like, I remember feeling when someone would say this to me, I go, oh, shut up, you know, but when you get there and when people say like, when you know, you just know and it just works and it's easy, it is true. Like it just really generally does. And there's no, and I know not everyone's relationships can be straightforward and you meet and sometimes there are things that are in the way and there's obstacles and it's not straightforward and they end up being together and that's great. But 9 times out of 10, when you meet the right person, you just know and it just works. So I just think, just trust that timing's in your life to know that when you meet them, you're going to know and it's going to feel great. But
sliding moments, sliding doors, I'm a huge believer in it, like of what can happen if you just make that decision right then and there, what the world can open up to you if you just take a risk, opposed to going on your norm, to head back and that's I think I think when people sort of step out of their comfort zone for one moment, it's only one moment of fear and the other side of it can be pure bliss. And this is a perfect example of it.